Welcome back to Just the Facts, y'all. My name is Jimmy, and today we are back with another interview. Man, I got my guy Isaiah Wyatt in here, UTSA basketball player. Isaiah, introduce yourself to the people, man.
Look, my name is Isaiah Wyatt, and I go to UTSA, and that's where I play basketball at.
Yeah, and congratulations to you, man. Because as y'all don't know, if y'all watching this, me and Zay went to middle school together, Summer Creek, and we used to hoop all the time, PE and whatnot, and just to see someone that I knew from that long ago doing big things like this now, it's just so inspiring, so motivating for me. And I just want to say, man, I know that had a lot of hard work to go into it, and I want to say congratulations, bro.
I definitely appreciate it. I appreciate you for having me.
Yes, sir, man. I really wanted to get him on because I know you have a really good mindset, more mature than most people that I'll know. Even though I haven't really talked to you much in a while, but tell me about your journey a little bit, man. How did you get to this point? Just let the people know. Tell them how you got to this point. Give us a little rundown.
So let's start from the beginning. My senior year of
Do
high
it.
school. My senior year of high school. That was a big turning point for me because when I was in high school, uh, I had a great team. It was a great program. As you know, North Crowley was big at 2019, and that was, like I said, it was a turning point because when I got into my senior year, I had no offers. I had no offers at all, and my mindset was different now than it was before because back then I wasn't focused at all. Like I was getting
Mm,
in trouble. But the thing was when coaches asked, college coaches asked my coaches, I could play. I had the grades. I just didn't have the mentality. The mentality, the focus, just staying out of trouble. Make sure you don't be the class clown. That was the biggest thing for me. And going in towards the season, uh, I never forget. We had a game, and one of the coaches from Louisiana Tech had came and asked about me, and as anybody knows that my guy Isaiah Crawford, he's still
I
there
was
to
gonna
this day.
say. Yep.
Yeah, he's still there to this day, and he was getting recruited by them. And one of the assistants at the time, which he's the head now, uh, took a look at me, and he liked my game. And that particular day, I got in trouble. So he had found out by one of my assistant coaches, and he said that he wasn't going to take a chance on me, but he ended up sending me to Community McLennan Community College, and that's where I got
Yeah.
started at my freshman year. And when I got to my first year of college, that was a big turning point too, because now I went from playing 32 minutes a game, the whole game, to now I'm only playing five, or I'm playing 0 minutes. And that was a lot of people when they go to JUCO, especially in the area of Fort Worth, you always hear, oh, they're playing in JUCO and then they're done playing. And that wasn't my mindset. And as many times I've questioned myself and I wanted to quit, I didn't. And I definitely had a team that helped me through that and off the floor. So after that 1 year that I went there and I had played, they didn't take me back. So I transferred out. I went to a school called Jacksonville College in East Texas, and that's when COVID hit.
Mhm.
And right before then, I'm gonna share that story of how I got to Jacksonville. And actually, it took me about 3 to 4 months to find another school. It was a blessing because when I got there, my mindset was different. I'm like, I'm gonna make sure nobody pass over me again. And so I had a situation happen up there. I got hurt. I got hurt. And what people don't know why I left Jacksonville is because the coach actually kicked me off the team. And me and him, we got into it. We had some words, and the president of the school stepped in for me. And he said, I could stay. I didn't do anything wrong. And plus, the coach wanted me to come back while I was hurt. And he knew I was injured and I wasn't cleared. So the NCAA ended up granting us an extra year of eligibility. I took advantage of that. So I left after that first semester and I went to Southwestern Christian College where I got my 2 year degree. I got my associates from. So I
Mm.
did the second semester there, played, I averaged 18-8, and I shot 49% from the field, 43 from three, 80, I believe 82 or 83 from the free throw line. I had one of the best stats in the country, and I was runner up for player of the year. And I lost by one vote, and we all know who that one vote was. And of course, it was my school didn't vote for me. So, my old school.
Oh,
And
Jackson.
nah, McLennan,
Oh,
because
McLennan. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
McLennan and Southwestern are in the same. They're in the same region, the same conference. So I got to play my old school, and so from being the 15 man off the bench that didn't play to the next year after, being player of the year, being one of the top guys in junior college, that wasn't gonna look good. So like after that, I did another year. I came back to Southwestern.
Hmm.
So I took another year at Southwestern. Now, mind you, Southwestern Christian, not the best looking either. We didn't even have a trainer. That says a lot. We didn't even have a trainer. Shout out Coach Clark. He was recruiting me, and they were calling me every second, every hour, every minute. I couldn't even really eat like that, whenever I had a chance. And so I was like, you know what, I'll take the Division 2 route, because the Division 1s, they're not really, they just like, we want you, but we got other guys, in the transfer portal. And so I went to Division 2, went to Chadron State in Nebraska. I'm a Panhandle. And when I went out there, the first reaction of mine was like, man, how did I end up out here? And there was nothing out there. It was isolated. And the crazy part was is when the school year rolled around and the season came, and the way I am, I just like to talk to everybody. It doesn't matter if it's a janitor. I just like to talk to anybody. I like to communicate. It was pretty much the best time of my life, because it showed me how disciplined I was and how outside the box I was. Because a lot of people would have just quit after not playing and then going to Nebraska out of all places. And so when I went out there, uh, whole new team, by the way. And so I went to another losing school. And when the season started, we lost like the first, I believe, 4 games by like 3. Right after that, we had a little talk, and we got back together, and we went on a 10-game win streak. 10-game winning streak, best best record in school history. Went 19-9, and I told myself, I was like, you know what, my dream is to go Division 1. I was like, I gotta go. I didn't realize that I had another year of eligibility, and when I had that talk with my coaches, they weren't happy about it, but it is what it is, because it was my life, and at the end of the day, I never want to live with that regret of what if.
What if?
Everybody has that regret of, what if I did this? What if I did that? My recruiting was slow at first. Shout out to my teammates, MJ Faust, and shout out my guy, Josh Robinson. I'm sorry. Both of them guys helped me out with my recruiting, and they were reposting everything on Twitter. And I started to get some buzz. And then one page, a transfer portal page, caught me, and they didn't even know about me. And they see my stats. They reposted my stats and who I was, and then my recruiting blew up. Like, I went from having 5 schools to 50. Why I picked UTSA, and everybody asks me why. I'm gonna tell you why. I had a I had a visit scheduled on a Tuesday, I believe. I had a visit scheduled on a Tuesday, and it was going into the summer of June. And oh, I'm sorry, it's scheduled. Yeah, June. I'm sorry. And I you one of the coaches, shout out Coach Peck, that's on our staff right now. He called me and was like, "Hey, we want you down here, and we want to get you a visit, and we really want you. Just go ahead and cancel your flight for tomorrow." And I was like, Coach, I can't do that, because I gave him my word. And he was like, you know what, you're right. So got me a flight for the next day. This is a last minute flight. Now I talked to every school in the country, and UTSA said, we want you here tomorrow. I told myself that's where I'm going, because I'm wanted. And that's another thing, go where you want it, not just because of the name. But it was a long journey. It was a long journey.
Yeah, man. That just goes to show y'all out there listening that are hoopers and still on y'all's journey, or even people in general, man. You gotta lock in on yourself, know your worth, like you mentioned, and really persevere through it, man. Because a lot of people don't have the discipline, don't have the patience to ride it out and see things through, even when things aren't really going your way, right? But for you to be able to do that is just a example of what other people can and should do moving forward. But let's take 10 steps back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what even made you start playing basketball in the first place? Like, what was that moment when you started picking up the ball, started dribbling? Who were your early inspirations and things like that?
Oh well, I'm from the state of Ohio, from Toledo to be exact, and that's right next to
Mm-hmm.
Detroit. So it's pretty tough. It's pretty rough. For me, I was blessed to be in a nicer area than others. I knew a lot of people there, especially being from that city, and all we did was play basketball. So it was a little different for me when I came to Texas because I was so used to playing outside, playing with kids, interacting. That's why I can be able to talk to people so well, just because I've always had that interaction as a kid. And I've always been outside playing with new people, talking to new people. And basketball was a new form of communication for me because you got to talk when you play basketball, especially
Yeah.
whatever it is, from talking trash to communicating with your teammates, telling them where to go, wherever. You got to talk. So how I got into basketball was my dad. My dad, he's still hard on me to this day, and I feel like if I could deal with him, I could do anything because it's so crazy. Because if you would have looked at if anybody knows my dad, you wouldn't even be able to tell if I was his son, just the way he treated me. And that helped me so much because when I got into college, it was a big game changer. It wasn't nothing for me, from coaches yelling, from talking, whatever, crazy or whatever. It didn't matter. So, like I said, growing up, he showed me the ropes. He taught me the game. And for me, what was natural for me was my ability to shoot. I've always been had the ability to shoot. Everything else just I had to, work for it. It came in line. But that's where I started. I started in Toledo, Ohio.
Who were your early inspirations? Probably aside from your dad, who were the early inspirations? Like favorite players growing up, favorite celebrities, or who gave you motivation and inspiration growing up, man?
I would have to say, shout out to the hometown hero, Jim Jackson. Jim Jackson. Everybody, if anybody knows Jim Jackson, he played for the Dallas Mavericks, in the '90s, and he was definitely, an early inspiration because he was from the city. And not too many people make it out of Toledo, and it's a lot of people don't. I want to tell people now, don't get it twisted. There's a lot of good and great hoopers in Toledo that didn't make it out. Jim Jackson was a phenomenal guy, and especially I met him when I was younger, and I went to his camp, and I just always look at just how he carried himself. And that was the biggest thing. It wasn't even the basketball thing. It was just how he carried himself. He was always smiling, always clean cut. He was, he was professional. And that was an early inspiration for me and how I looked at him.
I like that a lot because it's unique, right? It's not like, and there's nothing wrong with like it's being like LeBron or Kobe or whoever, but for you to have like a guy like Jim Jackson, hometown hero, a guy that you can pick his brain, not even just basketball wise, just in life, how he carries himself, things like that. That just goes a long way, man, and it speaks volumes. What did you do in high school, man, when that Louisiana Tech coach came? What did you do, bro?
What did I do? I never. It's so funny because I never really got to talk to him like that until I want to say my freshman year of college. And my assistant coach was always telling me, "Hey man, you need to shout out Coach Harston as well." He was the guy that was
Oh, I
always
remember
telling
him.
me, "Yeah, Coach Harston was the guy," and
Yeah.
I still talk to him to this day. He was the guy that was just like, "Hey, take care of your stuff. Make sure you do this. Make sure you do that." And
Mm-hmm.
shout out to the rest of that stuff from Coach Brackle, from Coach Luster, Taylor Luster, from Coach David Bookman. Shout out all of them, and they were big inspirations for me as well. But Coach Harson was one of the main guys that was just trying to make sure I stayed focused and make sure I had got a scholarship because I was very talented, but I've always had one offer until going into my last year from last year, being in the transfer portal, and I had got kicked out of class, and I didn't know he was coming. The assistant was coming.
The coach.
And so I had went to the office, and I was basically on my last straw. I was on my last straw. And so my coach, he couldn't hold it back anymore, so he had to tell him. And it was a heartbreaker for me because I was like, man, I'm really messing up right now. I'm really messing up. I need to, get this narrative off of me. I'm always the rebel. That's who I was. That's who I was back then. I was the rebel.
I know.
So, so even now it's like, like I said, I always carry myself a certain way. Even though if I don't like something, look, tell your coach you don't like something, or tell whoever, but don't be that guy that's just disobedient and just doing whatever.
So if that didn't happen, you think you'd be going to Louisiana Tech? You would have went to Louisiana Tech?
Oh, for sure, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure, for sure. I would definitely be going to Louisiana Tech, and I think that was a. I'm glad I didn't, because I wouldn't appreciate it. I wouldn't be sitting here and be able to talk to you right now, because
But
I didn't know how to handle the little things then, and I would have messed it up, when if that ever happened. So for me to go through that long process of, through the 4 years, and another thing was, like, even when I was in my freshman year, like I forgot to add this in there. Even my freshman year, I was going to class, but I wasn't. I would do my work, and I would do poorly. Like I had a 5%, like literally a 5% in probably almost every class. I met this one girl my freshman year, and everything completely changed. She helped me through my work, and I had a 3.2 GPA at the end. And
mm,
so from that point on, like I said, that she was a part of my team, and everything changed for me. Everything. I looked at myself completely different. I said, man, let me have a team. Let me have, these people that surround me. Take care would take care of, what take care would take care of you. And don't ever treat people, a different way. If it's from the homeless person on the street to the president of the United States, you treat them the same, no matter what. And that's how I flipped my mindset, because I never took anything for granted from that point on. Because I said, if I would have went to Louisiana Tech, man, Louisiana Tech is Division 1, is big. Everybody knows your name, and you know what comes with that. So I'm glad I went through this process, though.
I'm glad. I'm glad that you ended up when going through the journey you needed to go through. Because
Mhm.
I was talking to someone a couple weeks ago, and she had a situation where she had her mind fixated on one thing, and it didn't end up out for her, and she was bummed out about it. But she was telling me about what she was going to be doing instead as an alternative, and I was just breaking down to her. I was like, well, if you want to look at it this way, it's a good opportunity for you to do this and that, and you can see this blessing here that
Mhm.
wouldn't have been there otherwise. And you just got to find the little wins, I think, in life in general, man. On your journey, there's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be detours that you're going to have to take. You're not going to want to take it because you want to go the shortest route. You want to go your route. But sometimes you have to go to the detour to get to where you want to get to. So, um, yeah, I'm glad that you had went through all that to be who you are now. But when did you realize that going D1 was a realistic goal for you, bro? Because
From the beginning. From the beginning, man. From the beginning. I never said to myself, can I go D1? Because I come from Toledo, Ohio,
yeah,
and Toledo, Ohio is pretty much grimy. You got guys that's coming from the league. You got guys that's been on the street. That's all they did was play basketball. That's the only way they could express themselves. And when I knew I could hold my own in the park games, like in Rucker Park in New York, that's the type
hmm,
of games that we had. And once I knew I could hold my own, I was like, man, I can play in a Division 1 game. And so that was always realistic. Now, the part that I had to get down was the off the court stuff, being professional, knowing how to talk to people, because you don't never know what goes into that. And people don't realize, and I'm glad I shout out Coach Brackle, because he made sure that we knew how to speak in interviews. He used to do interviews after game, and we practiced and sharpened our skills. And expanded our vocabulary. It expanded everything else. And those are the type of programs that you want to be in because it will help you in the long run when you go talk to somebody. If you go talk to your boss or if somebody has a mic and a camera at you and they saying asking you questions and interviewing you, you know how to speak and, articulate.
What was your welcome to your welcome to college hoops moment?
Welcome to
Because I know
college.
a lot of people have one, but what's your story, man?
Ooh, that's a good question, Jimmy. That's a good question. Like like a highlight moment, like I was in the game or something.
It can be, yeah, a game on the court, off the court with teammates, whatever pops up in your head.
Uh, welcome to college moment. Man, I can't believe I'm telling this story. I know if he see this, he gonna laugh. Shout out my boy Akili Vining. We call him AK for short. He went to North Crowley as well. I pretty much grew up with him when I moved to Texas, and we went to McLennan together. It was his last year, junior college, and it was my first year. And we used to do this drill where we used to call it the wall up drill. So basically, you go to run to the offensive player, and you jump when they jump, but you having your hand straight up. And so me, I never could jump that high. So you already know what's coming next. I got dunked on. I got dunked on. So it was a welcome to college moment because I was like, man, everybody's athletic. Everybody can run, jump. You know, these are like hybrids. And
Yeah,
so it was a different, it's a different type of pace for me because for me, I move slow. I just think the game. I don't think like an animal. Like I gotta run fast. I gotta jump high. I gotta take people out. Like that's not how I think. I think it from A to Z. That's how I lasted for so long. And that was a welcome that was a welcome to college moment for sure.
kind of woke you up and let you know that, damn, everyone here is athletic. Everyone here can do all these crazy things, right? Speaking of athleticism and playing the game, what is the real play style difference between even from high school to JUCO, high school to D2? What are like the main differences? Because I talked to someone a couple weeks ago. He's in JUCO now, and he was like, "Yeah, the people out there are athletic as hell too. They just don't have the fundamentals down, or like some pieces are missing of their game, but they're all athletic." So, how do you see it from your perspective?
So from the difference, you said high school from D2, right?
Yeah,
So the difference from high school and D2, high school is more freelance, it's more space, it's more like you being at the park, let's hoop. That's the type of game it is in high school. I've heard NBA players. I've been around professional players and NBA players. That said high school more so correlates with the NBA, which it really does. And from Division 2 and from high school is that Division 2 is way more detailed, way more team involved, is way more sets. It's they got everything down to a T. And I kind of struggled for a little bit just because I had to get used to that. Because in JUCO, I was more so just going up and down. I was just going to hoop. That was first nature to me. So when I got to D2 was more so they do scout. They know where you like to shoot it from. Oh, he takes two dribbles to the left. He takes one dribble to the right. He likes to shoot from his hip. Those are the type of things that they do. And you can tell because the next time you go around and you go play them, or the next team you play the next time, oh, they it's hard. It gets harder to score. So that's why I'm so happy that to add this in there. I'm so happy that I wasn't just gifted with a 50-inch vertical and I could run a 4.340. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
I'm glad I didn't. And the shooting ability to be able to make shots. That's something that I didn't embrace at first. And if you can score basketball, you're going to be on the floor. I know people say defense is going to keep you on the floor, but if you can score baskets at a high rate and you know how to score a basketball and be efficient, keyword efficient. If you know how to be efficient, nobody can take you off the floor. I'm gonna just tell you that now. And I know you see guys in the NBA, they talk about James Harden all the time. James Harden is one of the most offensively gifted guys on the floor. He's not known for he can play defense. Don't get it twisted. He can play defense, but he's so offensively gifted that you can't take him off. He impacts the game so well. So that's definitely, one of the big difference from D2 to high school.
And one thing I'm impressed with you, man, is that you remember your stats like on point. Like I have your stats in front of me right here from each year, and
Mhm.
if you just remember those stats off the top of your head, it's pretty impressive. Yeah, you're hella efficient, bro. Like for real. Um,
And like I said, that was another thing that I've always carried with myself. It was like, okay, I'm not looking at points and rebounds as much as I'm looking at percentages. I'm looking at percentages the most because Jimmy, if you watch the NBA, they do statistics to the T from
yeah.
turnover, assist to turnover ratio. So a lot of people don't even know what that is.
All
From plus
day.
minus. Yeah, so those are the things I look at. So every year I'm like, I need to be. The game is more threes and layups now, and that's more so my game. And I'm so well in isolations, that's a thing that I've always, I've been good at because I can make shots. I know how to break somebody down. And one thing I was always gifted, along with shooting, was my strength. My strength was always, I was naturally gifted with that. So I just added on top of that. So I was like, if I can get a little bump off of somebody and I can shoot over them and I know I can make shots, oh man, it's going to be hard for somebody to stop me. And it doesn't matter if you're 7 feet tall. If I just need a little bit of space just to get it off. So, I just told myself, all right, I need to be top 5 in this percentage category. And as you can see, threes, 3 years in a row, like 46%, 47%, 43%. I've always gradually just got better and better and better. And even in Division 2, and I'm pretty sure in NCAA period, from Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, I was probably top 5 in 3-point percentage, and I shot close to 200 threes.
Yeah.
So I've always looked at that. I never just looked at the scoring aspect.
What do you anticipate the transition is going to be from D2 to D1, man, in terms of play style?
It's actually, I got a little bit of a feel for it, and one thing I would have to get used to, and it's not really more so being on the court. It's more so the crowd. It's a different. You go from playing from 200, 300, fans. Now you playing to 5,000, 10,000 fans.
Hmm.
And so we just moved to a bigger conference. So we're in the American Conference now. And that's what Memphis, that's what FAU's in there, the one that just made the Final Four. So we got some teams that, they're fully loaded. These are first round, mid first round, second round picks, that we're playing. So every game we're gonna have to come with it. And that the difference, for me that I'm looking at, it's gonna be actually be a lot easier for me because I got a great team around me. I got a great team around me, and I love all my teammates. All my teammates, they are phenomenal, and they all can play, and they all can go. So all I have to do is just play off of them, and for me, it's just being a shooter and making shots. And I want people to get confused and be like, "Oh, he's just a shooter. We'll just run him off the line." And every year it happens, Jimmy. It happens. Everybody thinks I'm a shooter, which I am. Don't get me wrong. I am a shooter, and they just
Yeah.
think I'm just one dimensional, and that's where I get them. Okay, now I can put the ball on the floor, and who I resemble my game from, it's a mix. The best comparison I can put with two players is Carmelo and Jokic, just because of how Melo does his pivots. He knows how to play from isolation. And Jokic is because he thinks the game and he's not all athletic. He's not athletic at all. So those are the two
Hmm.
comparisons that I can really put. So I feel like it's going to be a lot more easier because Division 1, you got 6'7" shooting guards, 6'8" point guards, 6'6" point guards, and a 7-foot center. So all they're doing is relying on their athletic ability. And so the rotations, everybody cheats them. So it leaves shooters open. So I don't really have to put the ball on the floor at all. I can just really just rotate and be like Klay Thompson or be like Curry, just running around and be able to shoot threes, cut to the basket or whatever. So it makes my job a lot easier because as you can see, if you look at Division 1 percentages, from players, they think 37, 38% from three is really good, and I've never shot that low. So I always kept myself, all right, I need to be 46, 47, 48, something crazy that everybody is like, man, this is not realistic. I never shot in the 30s, and I've never ever shot in the 30% at all, ever. So that's I'm like, I need to be able to showcase my shooting ability and become a 3 and D type guy. I'm not even saying being an all around guy or a superstar guy, just being a 3 and D, and that would get me to the league.
Yeah, I like that, man. Like, you know your strengths and you double down on it. And that's what players really don't look at in themselves. They're just trying to be the star player, or they're trying to be something they're not on the court, right? But you know exactly the player you are, you know exactly what you need to do, and you just double down on it. And that's the greatest way to go about it. But what are you anticipating the most in D1? Like what are you looking forward to the most experiencing? I know you mentioned the crowd and everything. That's going to be a big thing. But what else
Mhm.
are you anticipating?
From on the court or off the court,
Either one, both.
really off the court, is meeting new people.
Okay.
Because I can tell you from the difference from junior college, meeting different people. Everybody looks at you, they just like, oh, you play junior college, oh, you play Division 2. Now I'm Division 1, and I go to a big, UTSA is really known, and especially in San Antonio, that's one of the biggest, the schools that they really look at. And just so far, just meeting different people, and they like, oh, you go to UTSA, like, it catches the eye. And for me, I look at every situation. It don't matter from if I pick up a pen, I look at it as a marketing standpoint, a selling point. I'm gonna talk to you, and then I'm gonna tell you, hey, look, come out to a game, come out to an event or whatever the case may be, because that's just the type of person I am. I like to be involved with everybody. I like to I just like to expand myself, and I like to broaden my horizons, and especially on the floor. If you can, bring in a packed crowd, who's not going to love you? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that's how I look at it. That's what I want to do as far as being in Division 1. I wanted to be able to change people's lives, and when people hear my story, and especially even you, Jimmy, like having that podcast of yours, it was something new for you, and now you've gradually just moving up the ranks, so that's how I look at, like, being on here. I want to be able to tell people, hey, get with Jimmy. Jimmy, he got this podcast, and he interviews guys that that are on the come up. Now, people look at you and they're like, oh man, I gotta spread the word to Jimmy. That's how I think. I'm not more so thinking about myself. I'm thinking about how can I help the next person that's trying to come up, because I know what it's like trying to market it myself and trying to get in places, and people like, oh, you don't have a rep, and you just need
Yep.
one person. You just need one opportunity. Now that opportunity that you get, that's on you. And that's how I look at it. I don't take it for granted no more.
That's it. It is tough out here. It's self marketing, putting yourself out there, but having a good support staff around you, man, is really key, right?
Mm.
To to success in general. I made a episode recently about how having good friends and having a supporting cast of like family members, things like that, is like essential to your success as a person. So, um, you want to talk about NILs and endorsements and things like that.
I
What are
was
you,
wondering.
huh?
I said I was wondering when that question was coming.
Yeah, yeah. I had it right here starred for you, man. How have your experiences been with that, and what are your overall thoughts? The floor is yours.
My overall thoughts on NILs, I haven't got too far with it. I really just got here, as far as Division 1 goes. But it's definitely a game changer. It's definitely a game changer, and knowing the rules of what goes on with it, and that's what people got to understand. There are rules, there are laws that you have to follow by. And it's a game changer because it allows guys to be able to market themselves. And that helps me so much because I was already doing that before, trying to talk to people and trying to get into things. So that just helps me even more, because now that I have a reputation and I'm at UTSA, it makes it easier to get endorsements, to get in NILs. So uh, I can definitely say, that's a big game changer for sure. People are willing to, you know, give you an endorsement. That's the reason why I wanted to talk about it. Like, people are willing to put their brand, on the line for you, for you to spread the word and for you to monetize and they're part of their brand. So that's why I really wanted to talk about NIL, because it's so much money out here that they're giving, and there's so much, so many things that you can get in with. And if you can do it right, and you know how to strategize, you know how to get in, get indoors when they're open, like, everyday living becomes really easy at that point. You don't have to worry about a meal, you don't have to worry about clothes, you don't have to worry about the money you put in your pocket, because you're having those type of relationships with those people. Mm.
What are some challenges that you went on in your journey that might go unnoticed? Like, obviously you have like the big overarching thing of you creating discipline, you being really good off the court. You had issues with that, but what are some little things and overall things we don't know about the grind that it takes to get to this point?
I want to shout out three more people. Elijah Pruitt. I want to shout out Jason Mayo, Gym Rats. He has a thing going on called Gym Rats. And shout out Coach Chris Anderson. He has a thing called Baseline to Baseline. And them three right there, they stayed on me. When I was at my coming from junior college, coming back to Fort Worth to work out, and one thing that went unnoticed was my drive. Not being out of school, being a free agent, and staying in the gym. People don't realize that if you were at Sarah, not I know people go to Fitness Connection where you at. Sarah was one of mine on Brian Irvin. I used to go there 4 in the morning. I used to get up at 4 in the morning, 4 in the morning. And I used to go to work out. I used to go play first at 5. I used to go play at 5. I worked out right after I played about 8, 10 games, because they're running games in the morning, like that
They're running
early.
4 or 5
Yes, they're
a.m.
running 5. It's about 20 people. 20 people. No joke. They still do it now. They still do it now. Uh, about 20 people. I'm running about 8 games. I go to the next court over. I got to work out. I'm working out. I lift right after that. That's about an hour. That's about an hour. The lift is about an hour. My training with basketball with Chris Anderson and Elijah Pruitt, that's probably another maybe hour and a half too. I go to work when I was working in the city. I go back to I go back to work out at Sarah again about, I want to say about 5, 6 o'clock. And if they was after I was done working out again, training, I would go to hoop sessions. And my old teammates or whoever would invite me. So I'm going to universities, I'm going to rec centers. And then when I was in Dallas, when I used to go to Dallas, especially particular Forney, Texas. That's where I used to work out with Jason Mayo, and I still talk to him. I still work out with all those guys. And Jason Mayo, he helped me a lot because I met him my 8th grade year, and I've always stuck with him since then. And so he doubled down on me, especially when it came to my craft, because um, I was like locked in. I can't just, I'm reiterating that. Like, I'm locked in. Like, I need to get an opportunity. I need to show somebody, hey, don't miss out. Don't miss out. There's so many coaches that missed out. They could have got me. And, they don't believe in what you're doing until they see it.
Mm.
And I'm just letting you know, like, for those people that's coming up, give them the hint now, like, hey, get me while you can, because you'll regret it later. And so that was me. So when I used to go to Forney, I used to go work out about 2, 3 times. I used to get up back in the morning, or I used to stay at his house, and we used to go back, work out again in the morning. So those were the biggest things that went unnoticed was my drive. And at the time, like I said, the girl that helped me with my homework, she was there. She was there for me, and she helped me through a whole lot of that. And especially with my workouts, I used to go. She used to take me down there to go work out. So,
Mm.
uh, like I said, I had a really big team, and my dad used to help as well. So I definitely, those are the things that really went unnoticed for me.
I know all of us have encountered this at some point, but on the road, when you have to be obsessed like that, you have to have a certain level of obsession. You have to have a certain level of focus and being locked in. There are going to be people out there that are going to throw some doubt in your way, throw some doubt in your life. And there's going to be people in your ear saying, hey, you should do this. Hey, you should do that. Hey, do this. Hey, I don't think you should do this. How did you deal with haters, and not just haters, but people just in your ear 24/7? Because I know we've all been there at one point to where we have so many voices talking at us at the same time. So how did you deal with haters and just people in your ear in general?
I had to learn how to stop listening to people when I started playing basketball. You have people that, they slip through the cracks and they get to you inside of your head. And it took a lot of prayer. That's what I used to do. I used to pray a whole lot. I used to pray to God every day, nonstop. I used to get home from workouts, pray. I used to go to lunch, pray. Right before I go to sleep, pray. Wake up in the morning, first thing I do is pray. And because if you allow those people to get inside your brain and the haters, it will eat you up alive. And so that's all I did. And I still do that to this day because it's greater things to come. And you already know it's like working out. From the beginning, nobody really sees it. And then when you see your cuts, you see your muscles, everybody's like, hey man, like, hey, let me get on, your regimen. Let me get on your workouts. And you like, man, why you didn't want to do it from the beginning? And at first it was like, oh, he weak or he looks a certain way. And it's like, I got to prove them all wrong. And the biggest thing for us guys is you have to deal with the criticism. And that's just being a young man or a man, is that you don't get any excuses at all. You don't get any excuses. It's either you do or you don't.
That's it.
And you have nobody else to cry on. You can't cry on somebody else's shoulder saying, oh, well, he did this to me. He did that to me. You sound weak. So that's how I dealt with it. I won't say I didn't cry. I cried, man. I'm not afraid to say that. Like I literally cried. I cried from after my workouts, from working out, from lifting weights, working out with my dad. Like that's all I used to do was cry. And I used to tell myself, man, you're gonna get out of this. You're gonna get out of this. You're gonna get out of this. And eventually I just started seeing the little changes, and you start to see it. It's like I said, it's like working out. You start to see that muscle. You start to see that little horseshoe in your tricep. Like
Mm.
it's those little things that you see. And it's so funny because when I didn't see you, Jimmy, when the first time I seen you and I looked at you and I was like, man, he had changed so much. And it is so crazy because we were seeing each other on the daily when I was at Fitness Connection. And I was
Yeah.
like, man, to see him in the gym the same time I'm in the gym and I'm lifting, and you see a lot of people in the gym, especially at Fitness Connection, like they say they're working out, but they're not working out.
They,
They taking 10-minute breaks, talking, having a whole conversation. And I feel like if you ever paid attention and you seen, like I watched you all the time. You like you'll say something, you'll be talking to somebody, but you're working out at the same time. Like you not wasting no time. By the time you look up, you've been there from 1 o'clock, or you've been there from 10 a.m. or 8 a.m. and it's 5 p.m. Because and now look how much time you wasted. And so I definitely got to give your flowers when it's due, because I've seen it. I've seen it, and for myself, I'm like, I said, man, it's great to see another person, working towards what they want, and striving to get what they want. Because at the end of the day, you only get one shot at this life, and all people are going to talk about is what you did, not what you could have done.
Damn. I appreciate. I really appreciate that, bro. Because there's a lot of things that people didn't see behind the scenes that went into making me the person who I am now, right? And there's still so much more to go, and that's the most exciting part for me. That's what motivates me the most is knowing like, damn, I can get to another level. I can get to another level. Not that I can't appreciate what I have now because it gets to a point where you're just never going to be satisfied. You're never going to be happy with the progress you've made over the years. So thinking about the future and what I could potentially be is my motivation, bro. What is your motivation to keep going right now?
My motivation to keep going is to do what God is to do what God has told me to do. You know, what is my purpose? And you know what your purpose is. You know what's right from wrong. You know what you're supposed to do, what you're not supposed to do. And the one thing I learned is that you work, you don't do something just because you feel like it. And I go back to the analogy of working out, trying to gain muscles. If Jimmy, if you worked out when you felt like it, you wouldn't look the way you look.
Yeah,
You wouldn't look the way you look. So that was a motivation for me because when I look at it, you create a callus, literally a callus of discipline. Just discipline, telling yourself, hey, I need to do this. I need to fulfill my purpose. I need to go chase that dream. Because when you sleep, I always say nothing just happens on accident. Nothing. Everything has a cause and an effect of why it happened. And I say to myself all the time, if I build these days up and I just do little by little, and everybody looks at this much, but they don't realize if I just do a little and a little, 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 how much bigger does it get? And
that's all, bro. It right.
right.
The
And
little
so
shit.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, that's what I was gonna say. I was saying the little things add up, man. Even if it's 1%, eventually you're gonna get to 100.
Yeah, eventually you're gonna get to 100, and so that's no different from working a job and saving money. A lot of people say, I can't save money. I don't do what you do. I'm not a Division 1 player, and it's like, man, when I was working a job, like I knew I had a cell bill, I had an apartment. You know what I'm saying? I done it all. Like those little things you got to learn. All right, I can't go out. How many people you see go out on a Saturday? How
Every
many
night.
people you see go out on a Sunday or a Friday when they get their paycheck, every 2 weeks, the first and the 15th? Like,
Yeah,
and how much money do they spend on bottles and stuff that they don't need, and then complain and be like, well, you say, hey, let's get our passports and let's go overseas. Oh, well, I don't have enough money to do these things, but you just spent $800 on a Saturday. You just spent another 500 on a Sunday. You just spent another $300 getting some Gucci shoes. Like that was just as much as going to take a trip. So people don't look at those little things, and they realize when I realize being in this world of seeing nice things and seeing things that are not so nice. There's a division in between the two. And the division between the two is the people that who gonna work their behinds off nonstop 6 days a week, and the people that are gonna do the same thing, but they're gonna spend every resource they have.
hmm
So that's the difference. That's the difference from being in a nice house and being in a small house, and it's falling apart. You're not taking care of it. And the biggest thing I have to say is that people say take care of your bank accounts, take care of your family, but one thing that people don't understand and realize, take care of your body and your health, because that's the machine that's going to keep running. That's the machine that's going to get you the money. That's going to be the machine that's going to do everything for you. When you wake up, you can't leave your body. So, and that's another thing I'll definitely share is that I don't drink or smoke. So I've never done it. I've never done it because I've always said to myself, it's not right now. I'm in my 20s. Of course, everybody say, hey, go have your fun. That's not me. Because if I end up having my fun, I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you to this day.
yeah,
So uh, I've always told myself I want to be able to have a family, and when they say, let's go play 5-on-5, I'll be 50, 60 years old and I can run a full game. That's who I want to be. I don't want to be the guy to be like, man, I had my time and I got a big keg. Like I got a big stomach just hanging over. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to be that guy. I want to look the same when I was, right now I'm 22 years old. So, uh, that's the things I look at. So,
I know you've seen, and I've seen it too. People that have the potential to go D1, people that have the potential to go and do certain great things in life,
mm,
and for some reason it just doesn't work out. Whether it's distractions, off the court issues, even just talking life in general. They get sidetracked on something. They fall into bad habits. Their circle of influence is horrible. You probably have people coming off the top of your head right now. Like,
mm.
how can people avoid that? How can people not make these mistakes that other people have made when they have the potential to do great things in life? Because there's been a lot of people that are able to do great things in life, but they choose not to.
It's the will of, do I want to do it? It's the will of, do I want to be great, or do I just want to be average? You know, who are they going to take? Who are they going to talk about? Who are they, tend to listen to in the time of need or struggle? The people that are great, the people that are doing things that what they're supposed to do, they're not doing what everybody else do. And for those people that have the potential and they have the ability to go play Division 1 or go professional, like you have to be locked in and tell yourself, I have to be different from everybody else that I see. I have to be different in some way, some fashion, somewhere in some fashion. I have to be different. So definitely having some. I'm not even saying a whole lot of people. I'm saying like 2 to 3 people, maybe 3, and having those type of people that influence you to go do great things. Hey man, put that drink down. Hey man, don't talk to that girl. Hey man, don't disrespect don't disrespect the janitor just because he's cleaning up. If you can go pick up that piece of trash that you see it's not yours, but go pick up that piece of trash before the janitor come. Those are the little things, because at the end of the day, you don't know how that's going to affect you. You just picking up that little piece of trash that you seen uh before the janitor got to it. He now his day is like, man, I don't have to clean so much. Now you go ask him, hey, can you open the door for this? He like, yeah, I'll go do it. Just because either A, he seen you, or B, he didn't have to overwork,
Yeah.
because of somebody's lack of discipline, they didn't want to throw a piece of trash away. And you just like, I'm doing it out of the kindness of my heart. I'm not doing it just because I don't have to, because I don't have the title of the janitor. So you want those type of people around, so that's a big thing. If you can stay away from negative people, and I say this, and I know a lot of people are not gonna like me for saying it, but if you're an athlete and you're trying to do big things, or not even just an athlete, somebody just trying to be great, stay away from clubs, stay away from drinks, and stay away from smoke. If you can do those 3, the girls, you be able to know the difference. Let me
Yeah.
say that.
Yeah. You be able to weed
So
them out. Yep.
you weed them out. So that's how I lasted so long, and I thank God for that.
Well, man, Isaiah, I appreciate you, man, being on this podcast with me. Any last words before we sign off here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I want to shout out my guy Chris Darrington as well in Toledo, Ohio. He used to play for the University of Tennessee. He's a guy that he sticks in my head because he's competitive. He's competitive, and I want to add. I want one thing that I do want to ask you, Jimmy. When
Let's
is the
do it.
next when is the next podcast that we can do? And when I make it to the NBA, I want to do another podcast.
Let's do it, man.
Okay, I got your word.
Locked in.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let's do it. I really appreciate having you on, man. Very smart, intelligent young man. Like I always knew you were, but just seeing the growth over time, bro, it motivates me to keep on going and doing my thing as well. you shouting out everybody, like you ain't taking credit, you giving credit out, bro. Like you don't see that often, but I see you
Mhm.
just giving credit out, shouting out this person, that person. It really shows the type of person you are, and I want to say, bro, stay solid, bro. Never change. I know you know that, but stay solid, stay true to who you are, and um, I just want to say best wishes on this upcoming season, bro, and hopefully you get a bucket. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much all I got to say. But those of y'all watching, make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're on Spotify, share this on your story to a friend, family member, and appreciate y'all watching. This is Jimmy from Just the Facts. I'm signing out. Peace.
Peace.